Our Microcampus Group P left Shanghai on April 30th, 2016. 14 students and I arrived at Xizhou, looking forward to our 4-week stay in rural China. The Microcampus project was an experience outside of the bubble, where we would live in the real China. Prior to the trip, each one of us chose a specific topic of high personal interest that we would investigate over the course of the trip. My topic is a case study of a local business. After multiple conversations with local business owners, I decided to challenge myself and see if I could survive as a business owner in Xizhou. Inspired by my interview with Miss Wang, I decided to become the owner of a rose petal company. I came up with the following plan. In order to become a successful entrepreneur in Xizhou, one must consider the capital, market analysis, and the specific location where they are planning to start their business. The first part that I must look at is capital. Let's say that I start off with an initial budget of 30,000 RMB for my parents. I would need to develop a plan to manage the human and financial resources for my business. Starting off, my coworkers. My parents and my brother are willing to help me maintain this business, so for now, I will not need to hire any extra workers. As my business expands and I open more shops in Xizhou, I will need to hire part-time employees. In that case, I will take into account their salaries, which will take part in my expenses. There is no official employment structure yet, but each one of us will be tasked with different jobs. My brother and I are more comfortable communicating with customers, so we will be focusing on the marketing section of the business. My parents are more conservative, but they are very familiar with the techniques and procedures regarding the creation of rose products. Hence, they will be concentrating on the technical part of our business. We will all be harvesting and collecting rose petals from February to August. I will treat my family as normal workers, so I'll pay them each a monthly salary of 1,500 RMB. Next off, the material. To produce a variety of rose petal products, the ingredients I would need include brown sugar, black sugar, white sugar, rose petals, and honey. Brown sugar costs 20 RMB per half kg, black sugar costs 45 RMB per half kg, white sugar costs 4 RMB per half kg, and honey costs 70 RMB per half kg. I would also need to buy a variety of containers, glass pots, and plastic containers of various sizes. The glass pots would be used to ferment the rose petals collected during its seasonal growth period from February to August. The plastic containers are used for packaging, so that customers can buy and take away the products easily. The average cost of the two different sizes for glass pots is 400 RMB, and plastic containers cost approximately 1 RMB. I would also need a scale to weigh my products, which costs around 350 RMB. Now that I have all the costs for the ingredients and materials, I can calculate an estimate for the official average cost of 1 can of rose petal jam. Then, I would need to multiply that by the amount of cans produced during the whole year. The specific number will be established as my shop becomes more stable with consistent customers and profit. Finally, I would need to consider the construction and rental fees. I would like to start off with a medium-sized store, about 30 meters squared. This size will allow me to keep my big glass jars within the store and have enough room for my brother and me to attend to customers. Ms. Wang estimated 9,000 to 10,000 fee for the construction of a 30 meters squared room, which includes the whitewashing of the walls, the placing of the furniture, and other necessary details. Rent would depend on the specific location of the store, but I would assume that a store placed near a tourist attraction site would cost 2,500 RMB per month. Moving on to market analysis. The three aspects of market analysis that I need to consider are market competition, the number of tourists that visit Xizhou at different times of the year, and the product itself. My observations of market competition are based off of the products that I make. My business sells rose petal products, so the biggest challenge that I would face is the existence of Daxia, one of the only rose petal jam companies in Xizhou. According to my interview with Ms. Wang, they have established presence online and have many other marketing strategies to promote their brand, such as providing wholesales to other smaller shops. Depending on how I want my business to develop, I would either become one of Daxia's numerous retailers, or I would create my own brand. My ambitions as an entrepreneur lead me to choose the latter, so I would negotiate with my family, and we settle on 玫瑰花店. The advantage of starting a rose petal jam company is the product itself. Rose petal products are one of the specialties of Xizhou. Different products are made with different ingredients, all of which include rose petals. Rose petals are seasonal plants that grow from February to August, and tourists are always attracted to local delicacies and traditional foods. Tourism is one of the biggest industries in Xizhou, so I will not have to worry about the lack of foreign customers. There are also many local families who buy rose petal products, so even when foreign tourists are not abundant, the rose petal industry will still be sustainable. According to Ms. Wang, the products that tourists typically buy are white sugar rose petal jam, brown sugar rose petal jam, and honey rose petal jam. I would need to keep track of the amount of products sold in each category so that I can establish a general quantity for the production of each product based on market demands. Then I would report this to my coworkers so that they are aware of the amount of rose petal products that need to be manufactured each year. The last part that I would look at is the specific location. Where do tourists visit the most? What is the most cost-effective store that does not cost too much to rent, but still has a sufficient amount of customers? After many observations, I believe that Sifengjie is the best place for me to set up a small business. Any of the shops around the huge archway would receive a sufficient amount of customers, so I would need to figure out the rental prices for different locations. To do this, I would have to see if any stores have shut down and if there are any available spots for me. Then, I would ask the previous shop owners for approximate numbers of customers and the rent that they had to pay. Their opinions would be very valuable to my business because the store location is extremely important. The two main reasons why any store has to shut down are 1. Their products do not meet the market demand, and 2. Not enough customers visit the general vicinity where their shop is located. Hence, my business could either be a success or a failure depending on my shop location. After having analyzed the capital, market environment, and specific location for my business, the question resurfaces. Will I be a successful entrepreneur in Xizhou? I do not know. My initial budget of 30,000 is definitely enough to start my business and maintain it for at least 2/3 to a whole year, but the stability of my business remains unclear. All depends on the amount of customers that buy my products and the profit that I gain from the selling of each product. These factors cannot be determined, but I am able to calculate the expenses after having interviewed Ms. Wang and several other local business owners. While successful entrepreneurs always analyze many factors of the market, it is also a risk-taking process. Some aspects of the market cannot be completely controlled. I have also learned that many entrepreneurs are not aiming for huge amounts of financial profit with the foundation of their business, but rather for their individual dreams or passions. Speaking of which, the reason why I chose this topic is because of my personal interests in economics. Over the course of this project in Microcampus, I have achieved a higher degree of self-understanding. Stepping out of my comfort zone played a huge part in the process, making local connections, eating meals with different peers, camping out in nature. I learned that boredom and silence are okay. It is natural to feel alone, to feel bored, to feel like there is nothing to do. Humans have emotions, and they should not be covered up. The Microcampus experience was an opportunity for me to pursue my interests and to understand the concept of boundaries and limitations. I have grown so much over the past month, and I would like to thank Mr. T, Miss Mai, and Sophie, and all my peers for making this trip such a memorable experience.